I managed to stop my husband from being unfaithful, but I still feel a deep sadness. We went through a really tough time, and for about 5 months, we didn't have any intimacy at all, mostly because I kept turning him down. At one point, he confessed that a woman had been flirting with him and actually asked if I'd be okay with him sleeping with her since I wasn't interested in sex with him. I completely lost it and we had a huge blow up. The following day, he said he didn't really need my approval and apologized out of panic and desperation. I ended up dragging him to the bedroom and gave him oral sex to stop him from going through with it. Since then, I'd had sex with him every single day. At first, I felt awful and forced, but eventually my libido came back. Now, though, I'm filled with anxiety. I feel like if I don't keep this up, he'll turn to her again. He explained that he genuinely wanted to discuss his unmet needs and thought the right way was to try to get my consent. If I didn't agree, he said he'd consider other options, like separating, so he could pursue her. He claimed he never really wanted to betray me outright, but once I confronted him, instead of trying to understand, he took it as proof that I didn't truly care about him. Even now, he still doubts that I love him, though he's decided to stay. When I asked if he would have actually gone through with sleeping with her, he admitted that he probably would have. That night, he'd already made up his mind, and the only reason he didn't do it was because I stopped him with a BJ. She no longer works at his company, and they haven't been in touch since, but it's not like he couldn't reach out to her if he really wanted to. I questioned why he didn't just suggest counseling, and he said he didn't have the courage. He was terrified that going to therapy would end with me still rejecting him sexually, and he felt he couldn't handle that level of rejection.
There are definitely a lot of missing pieces here, but if he truly waited 5 months, openly shared with his wife about this other woman before doing anything, and had been repeatedly trying to reconnect sexually but kept getting turned down, it doesn't really seem like cheating was his first plan. His fear of going to therapy is pretty puzzling, though. It's obvious they have much deeper issues beyond just sex. Feeling neglected or unloved is understandable, and continuously turned down by your spouse for months can be deeply humiliating. But I don't quite see why seeking counseling would be such an impossible step for him, or how that would somehow intensify the rejection he already felt. Sex is a genuine need in most partnerships, and for many men, it's a major way they feel bonded and close to their partner. Expecting him to simply accept complete sexual rejection indefinitely isn't realistic. At the same time, his approach comes off as a desperate, maybe even manipulative, move from someone who clearly struggles to communicate directly and honestly about his needs.
You seriously need to work on your self-worth, because this entire situation just comes across as incredibly sad. The fact that the only thing keeping him from sleeping with someone else was a single blowjob says everything about the level of respect he has for you.
You should never, ever degrade yourself to the point where you're practically pleading with some pathetic guy to stay faithful by resorting to giving him blowjobs. Honestly, I'd rather be single forever than lower myself like that.
I can't wrap my head around how anyone finds men like this appealing, when the only thing that kept him from being unfaithful was a reluctant blowjob. That's a huge red flag. And now you feel pressured to have sex daily, just to keep him from betraying you, because he won't even consider counseling. That's so deeply tragic. Living like that would be a nightmare for me.
Clearly, this is a case of low self-worth. She's just holding on to the idea of having kids as a reason to stay with this miserable excuse of a man. He obviously doesn't love her, or want to fix things if he's too scared to even try counseling. Seriously, get a grip. I'm so fed up with the staying for the kids mentality. Often it ends up hurting them more than helping.
There's a strange kind of logic to this. It's definitely twisted, but sometimes people settle for a consolation prize without fully committing, because being completely invested and still facing rejection feels far worse than just dipping a toe in the water. I believe many of us do this to some degree, and it often takes a lot of effort to actually ask for what we truly need. At least that's been my experience. I grew up in an environment where many of my emotional needs were overlooked, so I learned to stop expecting people to be there for me. If I don't ask for their support, I won't feel disappointed when it's not given. Inviting someone to go to counseling together and genuinely try to repair a relationship is an incredibly vulnerable act.
Good grief, seriously. You're demanding the man make a grown-up decision. Or else, but the original poster gets off without any explanation for why she refused her partner for 5 months. Did she ever say it was his fault? Why assume that it was, or that fixing things is solely his job? Both of them are clearly immature. This isn't a one-sided issue. And maybe they shouldn't be together at all. Just look at the tactics they are pulling out in this fight. Neither seems interested in healing the relationship. Instead, they are just building emotional ammunition against each other. Repairing a relationship isn't a one-way street. They both need to step up. Because even therapy won't fix a relationship that's as toxic as this. Sex may not be something anyone owes. But if you start using it as a weapon, don't be shocked when the other person retaliates in kind.